Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Law, Your Money, and You. And I'm Roberta Sapphire, an attorney in Sharon. And this week we do have the law with us, which I'll introduce in a second.
Hi, and I'm Camille Barron. I'm a financial coordinator and a healthcare advisor, also in Sharon, Massachusetts. And Roberta, you know that we're always on a mission to inform people about scams, and new scams are always coming up. So our guest today is going to tell our viewers what to watch out for.
And I just want to remind our viewers that we do Police Officers Are Our Friends book, and we had started the third edition out of 24 towns of the Sharon Police Department, and we are so lucky today to have with us Officer John
Marsinelli.
Marsinelli, and I don't know why I had a trouble with that, because I used to speak fluent Italian, worked for an Italian man for 6 years. He must have left his mark on me. Welcome, John.
Thank you so much. So happy to be here.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, you know, before you became a police officer, what you're doing now.
Great. So again, my name's John Marsinelli. I'm 27 years old. I grew up in Quincy, Massachusetts, attended Quincy High School, graduated 2014, and then I went on to Mass Maritime. I graduated in 2018. Nice. At Mass Maritime, I did an internship with Quincy Police and Quincy Adult Probation, and that's really where I found my love to get into this career. After Mass Maritime, I got my master's at Boston College. We were talking earlier.
Nice.
I met your nephew. Well, I've known your nephew, but we had a class together at Boston College, so got my master's there this year in administrative leadership and studies. And again, I'm just happy to be here and talk about scams and try to educate everyone.
You know who else is on the Quincy Police is the sheriff's Pat McDermott.
Oh, okay.
His brother, I think, is still a sergeant, or unless he retired. So he's
Right.
been there for many, many years.
Yeah, I may recognize him. I just don't know the name.
And our sheriff is from Quincy and has been too. So
Okay.
Quincy got a lot of this. And one of the police officers in Sharon, his mother is, I'll think of the name, but her father or grandfather was an original police officer back in the 1940s at the Quincy Police Department, and I have that picture.
Wow.
As soon as I remember his name, he just got on the police force this year. I'll probably interrupt you and say his name. But anyway, tell us now, what are you doing for the Sharon Police here?
Great. So I actually transferred here 6 months ago. I started with Orleans. Orleans is far in the Cape. Enjoyed my time there. It was a wonderful department, worked with a lot of great men and women. I just really wanted to get closer to home. My mom still lives in Quincy. My girlfriend of 4 years, she's in Braintree. So it was very tough to be, and all my friends are in Quincy too, so an hour and a half commute.
That's a lot.
To get lunch, to get lunch and then go back an hour and a half. That took a toll on me.
Well, this is much closer.
Right, yeah. So then actually recently I just got hired as or you can look at it as a promotion, I guess, community resource officer.
That's very important.
Right, so that's kind of why I'm here I really want to take this position and focus on educating the community and anything they need. Obviously today we're talking about scams, but anything they need, I mentioned earlier, college safety, if that's something you'd like me to talk about in the future, fantastic.
I think you might be a regular here now that you talked
Right.
about that.
Yeah.
So tell us, how does someone know if they're facing a scam? Because a lot of these things really seem so real, and yet some people become vulnerable anyway.
Right. And also I'm going to refer to some of my notes. When we talked previously, I wanted to make sure I hit all the good points.
Yes.
So if I'm looking down at my notes.
Absolutely.
Me too.
Yeah.
And me too. We're all looking at our notes.
Right. So the first thing I'll talk about recognizing a scam is someone that you have a personal connection with. Say it's a family member or a friend, and you're talking to them, whether it's on social media or a text message or even on the phone. The crazy thing is there's apps that can change the phone number. So you might get a phone number you might think it's your brother because it's the same phone number, but it's obviously not. They'll be asking for money immediately, and just recognizing behavior that's not normal for them. My recommendation, if you get this and you're kind of hesitant if someone's asking you money and it's someone that you care about, hang up, dial the phone number that you recognize as theirs. Again, so you might get a phone number from your brother. You might think it's your brother. It's going to be the same number, like whatever it is. Call that number again to make sure, because now you're going to get actually get your brother's phone number.
They might put an extra number in it. That happened with my brother-in-law.
Right.
Like the David, there was an extra D, which you may not notice.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see sometimes calls, and phones have been great with it. Sometimes it'll say suspected spam,
Yeah.
which does a great job. And I mean, something my parents taught me a long time ago, right when I first got my cell phone. If you don't know the phone number, don't answer it. They can always leave a voicemail. So that's a big thing.
You do that.
Yeah, I don't answer the phone unless I know the number.
Right. That's very important. Again, you can listen to your voicemails. You can always hang up and call the actual person, like I said. So if you think, this isn't your actual friend, hang up, call the actual phone number, and your friend should answer. And you could say, hey, did you just call me? And they'll say, no, that wasn't me. So now that's a clear indication that, someone used their phone number and tried to get information or money from you. Another thing, you could speak to other family members or friends and say, hey, did you get a phone call from, auntie about this? And they might say, yes, it's a scam, or, they might be able to give you a little bit more information if it is something legit.
Yep.
And then for strangers, you can always hang up, hey, can I get your callback phone number if you're very hesitant about it? Get a phone number to call back, come to the police department, let us know. I'm happy to make the phone call with you in the room if it's something that we might be.
They have these websites that look real, especially the Amazon ones, and it says, if you didn't do this, call this number, 1-800. Meanwhile, those numbers are phony too.
Right. Any of those emails that you get is something called phishing emails. So that's something that there's actually training online. You can search up like phishing training on Google and go over practice. You'll see some websites that are just random numbers and letters, and it'll say, hey, this is from the IRS. The IRS's email is just going to be irs.gov or something similar to that. It's not going to be random numbers and letters. So that's something that you need to recognize. Another thing I like to bring up is my email for Sharon is jmarsinelli@townofsharon.org. So if you're emailing with me, that's the correct email. You might get an email from jmarsinelli@townofsharon.com, something completely different. So it's important to be vigilant and to look at who you're emailing, making sure it's the accurate one. Sometimes it might even not make sense, the emails.
And other things that happen online besides emails.
So-
What kind of things do you see then?
So, well, you're talking about like phone calls or?
Just other things where somebody, they might be directed to a link, they go on a link and then they get to some website supposedly. How do they know if that is legitimate?
Right. So a big thing is don't click any links that you don't feel comfortable with. If you see a random email sent to you, do not click on the link. I've also seen cases where people will be on the phone with someone and the person will say, oh, download this app, and it mirrors the phone. And what that means is when I'm scrolling through my phone, whatever I see, the person that's scamming me also sees. So they might say, okay, go to your bank account, and now they're saving all that information. So whenever someone says, download this app so I can mirror your phone and walk you through it, it's not accurate. That's not good at all. You don't want them going through your phone, seeing any of your personal information, whatever that is.
And that also brings on the identity theft problem when
Right.
people do fall for that kind of stuff, right?
Right. So I have that actually on this page. So if you've been scammed, obviously you want to contact the police. You want to look through any of your bank accounts that may have been involved, whatever bank you use, any apps. I know there's multiple apps that you can send money through. If you ever send money through an app, and you think you've been scammed, call that app customer service right away. Get a report number. That helps the police department so we can add that to our narrative report. And also contact the 3 major credit bureaus, which is Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, just to let them know, hey, I may have been involved in a scam. And the big thing is to continue to monitor your bank accounts to see if any money is still being withdrawn.
One of the biggest scams, from what I understand, is where they want you to not take the money out of your bank, but send it to them in gift cards.
Right. So anytime
That's
you're
a-
asked to wire money, to send gift cards, or leave money at your doorstep, that's a no-go.
Doorstep.
Yeah, there's people that will find out where you live, and they'll say leave money on your doorstep,
Boy.
and
didn't hear
you
that
know
one.
we'll
That's a good one.
yeah whether you know they say someone's in trouble and they need money, they'll pick it up at your house. That's you never want to do that. That's if anyone ever needs money, they're not going to need money through gift cards or any of those other ways. You're not going to have to transfer money.
And this just isn't in Sharon, because we're all
Right,
over.
right. This is all over
throughout
the world.
Country,
Right.
the world.
Yeah,
too.
this is
Boy.
all over the world, all over the country. It's very scary. I think one of the big things, and we mentioned this while exchanging emails. Who's a target? Everyone's a target, and that's a very scary thing. Younger people, they're on Snapchat. They'll get random friend requests. They'll send pictures.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, sometimes an inappropriate picture, and then the person that friended them will say, "Hey, send me $500, or I'm going to share this with all your friends." Very scary moment for anyone. 9 times out of 10, they don't send the pictures. They're trying to scam other
Yeah,
people.
There are no pictures.
Right. Well, they'll send the pictures. Unfortunately, you might have a young
Really?
person send it.
We got one where it said that we were on these sites and this and that. I'm the last person in the world to ever be on a site. So
Right, right.
We knew it was just a bunch. But I'm sure there are situations where people are, like young kids, get on sites and
Yeah, that's
yeah.
how these
Terrible.
scammers target the younger audience. They'll have a picture of a young female, very pretty, and they'll say, "Hey, send me a picture." They'll send the picture, and then that's when they say, "Send me money."
They'll Photoshop it too.
Right,
so
right.
You won't even.
And what I try to tell, the younger crowds, make sure you know who you're accepting. If someone randomly adds you on Snapchat or Facebook or any of these social medias, don't necessarily accept it right away. Either remove it, or if you have any mutual friends, ask your friends first. Hey, do you know this person? Is this a legitimate person from maybe another town? And they might give you information like, nope, this is a scam. They're going to ask you for money, and just to prevent from any future mistakes or sending anything.
Have you heard of one where they copy your information on Facebook and duplicate it and then say that somebody did that to my husband's and my granddaughter caught it?
Yeah, I see that. I see that often. The only advice I really have for that is I've noticed it with some of my friends. I'll call them on their cell phone because I know they're going to answer. And I'll say, "Hey, did you make a new Facebook? Or is this you messaging people?" Or like, "Hey, I saw you made a weird status." Because sometimes they'll make they'll make their own account, or they'll just take their account, take the original account, and start messaging people, which is scary. They'll hack the account, and that's something that you need to notice right away. Personal story. Yesterday, my family friend, I consider her an aunt, she was messaging one of her Facebook friends to buy concert tickets, and she's done this plenty of times, and she always goes, "Hey, I'll drop the money off at your house. How does that sound?" And like I said, she's done this plenty of times with this individual, and for whatever reason, this time they were like, "Nope, send me money through, wire transfer or through these apps." And at that time, she was aware, like, okay, this isn't normal. Called the person and said, "Hey, can I drop the money off at your house, or what's this about?" And at that time, they were like, "I've been hacked. I'm sorry. Like, I can't even access my Facebook. They changed the password or whatever."
I've seen a lot of those Facebook hacks
I don't
Right.
even go on it
with
anymore,
friends
really.
that I know. I'm already friends with them, and then I'll get a friend request,
yeah, I got
well,
that too.
from supposedly that person.
Right,
I don't
right.
I don't even open it.
Yeah, I'll usually message the original person, like I said, phone call or text or even in person, and say, "Hey, just so you know, there's another account out there, and you can always, report it, and hopefully Facebook
I've
will
been
block
getting
it."
a friend request 3-4 times a day for the past week from somebody I went to high school with.
Really?
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. And the scary thing is these people they're smart. They're really smart at what they do. That's why we need to educate everyone, because a lot of people
Yeah.
will come in, and unfortunately they'll give money and they feel really ashamed. And the first thing I like to tell people is, you're not alone. These people do this because they're good at it and they make a lot of money from it.
Yeah, and they do it not just to the banks, but to the like Home Depot and Lowe's. Somebody was they
Right.
stopped this person from buying a gift card there.
Yes, yes, that's a great topic. So, covering like the gift cards, we try to tell people if you ever need to give someone money, they're not going to ask for $500 in gift cards. That's just no one's ever going to ask you for money in gift cards if you need to pay a bill or anything. So what I want to educate, obviously why we're here is to educate everyone.
Right.
Even
This is for old and young.
yes, old and young,
Anyways.
even the people that work at the stores, like the convenience stores,
Right.
that give the gift cards. I think it's important for them to realize that if someone's buying a large amount of money in gift cards,
Yeah,
it's a red
something's wrong.
flag,
Yeah.
and they should contact the police. Worst case scenario is we show up and they say this is actually for my nephew or my niece or whoever. Fantastic. We were just worried. Go about your day.
That's good.
But other times you'll ask them and they'll say, it's a secret, and that's a big. If it's a secret,
Yeah.
that's a red flag as well. Or they'll say, I don't know who it's for. They just told me to get it, and that's
Yeah, and
you
they
shouldn't be
don't
falling
want
for
my
that.
father to know. Or they don't.
The thing that is prevalent now, and it's just really surfacing as a major concern. It's got positive, it's a positive thing, but also a scary negative thing is artificial intelligence, AI.
Right.
Yeah.
So in this way, somebody could actually, create somebody that the person knows,
Yeah.
and then that person might actually fall for it.
So that's one of the newer things. Very, very scary. If they can copy your face, copy your voice, and just talk to someone. Again, you can. There's apps out there that you can change the phone number, so it might look like I'm actually calling you, and asking for stuff. So a good tip to stop this is to have either a secret word. If me and you have a secret password, or me and my family members have a secret password,
What is it?
but that's just one way. Hey, what's our secret word? The hacker's not going to know. Or even like a random pertinent question, like, hey, who was my third grade math teacher? Or where did we go on vacation when I was 12? A hacker's not going to know that.
That's the kind of security questions, oftentimes if you're signing up or doing something
Oh,
online,
yeah. Right.
besides the password, they'll also have you answer 3 questions.
Right,
Nobody
right.
else could know
And
the
some of those
answers.
3 questions you never asked in the first place.
Right.
What's your father's middle name? Well, he doesn't have one.
Yeah.
I got one, and I refused to answer it, so they refused to let me in. One of the credit card companies, and it asked for not my last 4 numbers of my social security number. They wanted the whole security number, and I said, I'm not giving you that out.
Right.
It's smelled, and they kept asking. I went to another thing, and it was real.
You
But
got
I
this in
said,
the
how
mail,
do you
or?
do that? No, this was on the internet.
Okay. If I got something like that, first thing I would do is probably wait till business hours and call them, or even go to that bank and just say, hey, is this legit? Nothing needs immediate attention like that. If you
Right.
need to open up an account, you don't need to open it right now. It can wait till Monday morning if it's on a weekend. It can wait till the next day and say, hey, I'm very concerned. I don't know if this is actually
that's
real or not.
crazy. I finally got into the account by waiting and going to another computer.
Okay.
But I mean, that was weird. That
Yeah.
was really weird. And
That is
it
weird.
kept showing up.
You worry a lot about the seniors who may not have all of their faculties.
Mm-hmm.
They may be vulnerable because of that, and they might be more likely to fall for it outside of having tips like this. And that's one of the reasons
Right.
we want to do this, is to make sure
Oh,
everybody,
absolutely.
including
But there are
seniors, know it.
so many seniors out there that don't know how to navigate in their computer, and they don't know. So,
Ye-
which
Yeah, I mean, I know, unfortunately, my grandparents aren't around. My parents are, they're not the most tech-savvy people. So if they ever have anything suspicious, I just tell them, give me a call, I'll be there. I'll try to help you, walk you through it. So I think it's really upon, like, us younger people that are more tech-savvy, more familiar with this stuff to kind of educate, the elderly people that didn't necessarily grow up with a phone in their hand.
the elderly people don't even want to go take a course or anything.
Right, right.
They don't want to do that. And I wonder if there's a way to get them to do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point you bring up. I know my father himself is pretty stubborn. He wouldn't want to go to
Is his birthday in May? Is he a Taurus?
no, November. But he wouldn't want to attend a class.
No, they don't have it.
He's kind of like, I just don't. He doesn't answer the phone if he doesn't know the number.
That's good.
If he
Oh,
gets
that's
if he gets an
good.
email, he doesn't click on any links that he's not familiar with. Same with my mom.
Well, that's good.
Right,
Well, that's,
right.
That's, you at least, wouldn't
You've
that be-
educated them.
wouldn't that be
They've got the
embarrassing?
basics. I'm still trying a little bit to help them out with anything that that I can or that I see at work, because every day we get something new, which is pretty crazy.
Well, speaking of technology, though, people who are tech savvy will get emails from supposedly Microsoft or another
Oh,
big
God,
company.
that
My
Microsoft.
husband actually has fallen for one of those
Yeah.
things,
Your
and he ended up.
computer is
Yeah.
stuck or something.
they'll call.
Do not try to get out of it. The main thing is just get out of it fast.
But you
Right.
know, it seems so real. He
Yeah.
actually did click on something. Supposedly, it was going to be protection,
Yeah,
and we
he's
already had the
very-
protection.
He's very tech savvy,
He is
too.
very tech savvy. And it ended up that he fell for it, and he ended up having a virus on the computer. He had to bring it in and have the virus removed.
Oh, really?
Wow.
I keep telling him, don't do anything unless you know who it is. And if they call you from Microsoft, I
Yeah,
said,
that's
call
a
them
phone
back and
too.
see if that really is. Because if he asks, how can I call you back, the guy hangs up.
Right,
So
right.
you know.
Well,
That's
yeah,
always a good question
and
to
they,
ask.
they shouldn't be embarrassed either if they do get stuck. They should tell it. Our property manager, he used to, expert in internet. I'm telling you, an expert. He used to tell his father, don't click on that. Why? Don't click on it. They want to log on to your computer and they'll fix what's wrong with it. And his father fell for it and paid several times.
Wow.
Several
Oh,
times.
no.
They just don't learn.
Right. Like I said about the mirroring on your phone, again, the app, you can mirror the phone. There's still something similar to like computers. You grant them access to the computer, and now they're seeing exactly what you're seeing. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
dangerous. It's like you said to your husband, it's one of those things that just hang up or ask them what their phone number is and say you'll call them back, so at least they still think you're going with it. But to call the actual company, go online, find the actual customer service number, or if there's a store in your town that, such as a bank, go to the bank. I know it's inconvenient at times, but take 5 minutes out of your day to make sure you don't lose a lot of money, and actually talk to a teller or have a face-to-face interaction with someone, to make sure you're not going to fall victim of a scam.
Mm.
Yeah, there's a
Are
lot
there any
going
other
on
that
there.
you've heard about recently?
I think we mentioned this before the show. It's too good to be true.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Oh,
how I
yeah.
know it as. Someone who's younger that might get their first debit card or something, or something around those lines might
Yeah.
say, "Oh, hey, I got an email. I just need to send them $500, and they'll send me $2,000." That's too good to be true. That's never going to happen. If that was the case, a lot of people would be a lot richer.
The credit card companies, they're all, or the banks, open up a bank account and we'll put 500 in it. That's real,
Right. That is real.
but you don't want to start in with that.
No, I mean,
They-
anything like that, I think face-to-face contact is the best. Going to the actual teller. I wouldn't trust anything online to start an account like that, especially with given the pertinent information that you have, such as your social security or any of that, because those are real. I mean, if you start an account, you get sometimes X amount of dollars, but I would do that in person.
Does the police department go around to different grades and have like a day of this, a day of that? Because there are some schools that have courses
Right.
in there.
So-
So does yours?
I think we
Go
did something
around.
very similar to that before COVID. Unfortunately, that threw a wrench in
Yeah.
everything.
It did, in everything.
Right. So we're going to try to start that back up. We have a lot of young men and women on the department, as you can tell. We just met, so.
I was wondering if you should grow a mustache and a beard to make you look older.
Right. Well, we can't have beards, but I could try the mustache. I don't know if it'll look
You
good.
can't have beards?
No, we sometimes do. Our chief will sign off on a beard for like a charity event, which is nice.
Oh, yeah.
We'll donate, a good amount of money to a good cause foundation, and the guys get to have a beard. I don't grow a pretty beard, so I usually shave anyway. But
Wow.
That is funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is there anything else you can think of? We're getting close to
Yeah,
winding
we are
up.
getting
yeah, so
close.
the grandparent scam is a big one. I saw in the Cape. I see it here. It's everywhere. Basically, again, these people that are scammers, that they target these audiences. They know what they're going to say to the younger crowd. They know what they're going to say to the older crowd.
And the older crowd, the grandparents scam. For some of our viewers who are not familiar,
Right.
maybe you can explain that one.
The grandparent scam?
Yes.
Yeah. So you'll
Yeah.
get a phone call from someone who you think is either your grandchild or someone in your family, and basically they'll say, hey, I've been in an accident. I need money.
I don't want to tell my father about it.
Yeah, I
get
don't want to tell my
mad.
father or my mother.
Mhm.
Can you send me money here? And then sometimes they'll be like, send me gift cards or send me like, a wiretap, money transaction through that, or leave money on the steps. My attorney will get it. An attorney's never going to do that. An attorney's not going to say, leave
Not a
money on your
real
steps.
attorney.
Right,
Not a real
exactly.
attorney.
So,
Shall I wind it up with a funny story?
Yes.
But then they'll call up and say, my kids' grandchildren, we have 12 of them, they do not call us grandma
right,
because that was taken by the other grandparents. So they have an unusual name for us, which the kids could just pronounce, the older kids. Anyway, this fellow calls up, hey, Grandma, how are you? So right away I knew it was a scam because nobody calls me scammer. So I had a little time. I figured I'd play with the person. I go, oh, how are you doing? Fine. I go, how's Billy? I
Right.
don't have anybody named Billy. Oh, he's this. I says, what about Eddie? Is he this and that? And what about you? And blah, blah, oh, which one are you now? And this and that. And what's going on? Oh, I need some money and this. I said, oh, really? What happened? And, and then when I think I was driving, when I got to where I was going, I says, look, I can't do this anymore. I know it's a scam. You better hang up fast before I start reporting you, which I probably am going to report you. What do you mean? Who else calls you grandma? I said, nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody calls me grandma.
yeah.
Hang.
Yeah, that's
That
right.
was funny. That would have been a good one for You've Got to Be Kidding.
That's right.
We used to
yes.
do You've Got to Be Kidding near the end.
Okay.
Like the other story with the dog, somebody's dog. You probably get calls on dog bites.
Yep.
So the guy's at the door and the dog is there growling, and the kid's holding him back, and he said, does your dog bite? The guy, and the kid says, no, my dog doesn't bite. And at that, the dog lunged at him and bit, and the guy says, I thought you said your dog doesn't bite. And the kid says, my dog doesn't, this isn't my dog.
Oh, God, that's
So
funny.
on that, we gotta leave you.
You do bring up an important point. I just want to touch on it real quick. If you are a victim to a scam, whether you lose money or you don't lose money, please contact the police department. We'd like to know, try to get the bottom of this, because you're not the only one.
And they
If
will
someone's
come
calling-
out, any police department.
Right.
Because police officers are our friends.
Right,
And
right.
we do thank you for your service.
Thank you so much. Thank you
And
so
thank
much.
you very much for being here
And-
today.
and
This is
that's it.
important.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And I know you do a lot of other things in your community resource officer capacity, so it would be lovely to have you come back on some of those things too.
Absolutely, I'd love to.
All right. So to our viewers, thank you very much for watching today. If you have any questions about scams, or if you have any other ideas that you think would be good material for the Law, Your Money, and You, please let us know. We do want to hear from you, because remember, this is your show, The Law, Your Money, and You.